You're probably wondering why I brought you here, sir.
Everyone knows we've got one of those, Jenkins.
No, not that, sir. Over here. We found them playing it inside the ship.
Good God! Well, were you able to retrieve any information from it?
That's what I need to show you, sir.
Show me the gameplay.
Show me the gameplay. Show me the gameplay.
I'm gonna show you the gameplay. They want to get the players' feedback. They want to get their interest. They want to go as far as to get their movements. So now when somebody plays a game, they're playing a simulation of an actual football game.
Sitting down with the programmers also lets you know how good they understand the game, and in turn which allows them to make a better game. So obviously a lot of work goes into it, a lot of preparation.
The key was to get some realistic plays that Pittsburgh Steelers ran, defenses that we ran, specific plays that players really need in the game.
You look at the game and you go, well, heck, we run that same exact play.
One of the biggest things in the NFL right now is the zone blitz. So they're going to incorporate some of the zone blitzing into the game, different types of coverages that we play now.
Show me the gameplay.
Like your typical sound engineer, started out in bands in high school and recording, basically, and was more interested in what was going on the other side of the glass, so to speak. So I went to Berklee College of Music and studied audio engineering, and then headed out to Hollywood and basically paid my dues in recording studios, getting coffee and running errands. I started out doing some consulting for some video game companies. And then the opportunity here at Sony presented itself to build a recording studio, to build this facility, to do what I needed to do. A big part of my job here is sound evangelist, to go around to the producers and be involved from the beginning of the project. They're realizing how important a piece of the puzzle sound is, and talk to them about what are their goals for this project? What would they like it to sound like? We go over a style guide. What movie soundtracks, what albums do they really like? And I take that information back and look it over and go through it and then get as close as I possibly can. Now I've got a few people that help me out. There's not enough hours in the day. I've got a guy named Nate Brenholt, who is an amazing sound designer. He can do amazing things with an oscillator. He can usually be found in his office doing a typical laser blast, gunshots, footsteps, explosions, except his are always a little bit huger, a little bit bigger than everyone else's. Chuck Dowd is on staff, and he is primarily a composer. He's doing the score for a game we're doing right now called Blasto. His bag, if you will, is what a lot of the producers in-house want on their games. We have a interactive audio engine here. We call it an adaptive MIDI engine. Chuck is composing the music for Blasto in such a way that it requires him to actually program the musical score to interact with gameplay. So as you approach specific sections of a map, are attacked by some number of enemies, the musical score will actually adapt to that situation, get more exciting, get more intense, get darker. If you're just roaming around exploring, it'll get much more moody and just ethereal. And to the point where if you roam around long enough, the music will actually stop for a while, which is actually even more dramatic, because then when you come around a corner and there's an enemy, you'll get this explosive music will enter back in. Just knock you right off your seat, so it works really well. Yeah, that requires Chuck to actually program the musical score. He has to really think about not only the typical issues you have to think about when you're composing musical motifs, but he has to think about each gameplay situation that may arise. It's amazing how it affects gameplay, how it really just punctuates the emotion. The goal is really to just have the person play the game and go, wow, that was an amazing experience. They might not even be able to put their finger on why it was so much better than the last game they had in their PlayStation. It's just going to be one of those subliminal elements that just heightens the experience. And it just shows the potential that the PlayStation has for sound generation. I think when people get this game, they're going to hear the thing perform like they haven't heard it perform before.
I'd help you out, but I don't have a spatula with me. Grab a mop, there's gonna be guts on the ceiling. Yikes! Ow!
He's basically a parody of 1930s superheroes, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, that kind of thing, but also with an element of the cartoon side. We just wanted this superhero who was very overconfident and believed in himself so much it was ridiculous.
Oh, I'm good.
I guess if you were to take, say, Duck Dodgers, Powdered Toast Man, and Dirty Harry and throw them into a blender, you'd come out with Liquid Blasto. He's a cosmic custodian and these aliens are tracking up his floor. I guess that's how you could put it.
Hot damn, I'm good.
When we heard Phil Hartman was going to be the voice for Captain Blasto, it was a big relief for all of us because he was pretty much our first choice.
I'm so good.
When we first started developing the character, we'd come up with voices and constantly mimic Blasto how we wanted him to sound. And all of us would say, like Phil Hartman.
Hot damn, I'm good. I'm back, but this time I brought a friend with me. Let me introduce you to Mr. Fission Blaster.
The game basically takes place in a future world where Captain Blasto is protector of Earth and the galaxy, or at least self-proclaimed protector of the Earth and galaxy. He's warned that Bosk, his nemesis, is up to his old tricks again, plotting to take over the Earth, or at least destroy it, and to go and put a stop to it.
If this doesn't kill you, I'm yours on a sesame bun. Ouch, I'd say mankind is up crap creek without a spooge hammer. And now I've got to clean it up.
You look at our game, and it looks like a cartoon. It's like a 3D cartoon, and I don't think there's been the quality animation in a game yet.
We decided to have the levels work seamlessly with one another, because video games that have been done before are always very linear and level-based. We didn't want to do that. We wanted it to be that, he would walk seamlessly from level to level to level and be able to go back.
Ooh, now that's gotta hurt. Does a Terrian bat fart propane?
Blasto in his initial stage, I don't even think he was human at that point. I was playing around with some different characters, some anamorphic characters. I wanted some sort of a space hero that would be fun, something that maybe had the feel of, say, Duck Dodgers.
Better have a doctor take a look at that one.
Because I really love that stuff. But then eventually tried to work it into more of a humanoid type character.
Damn, got you all over my shoe.
We felt that the personality in the character could really add a lot to a game that we were wanting to do, which was this 3D roaming free environment. So the three of us, pushed around a few ideas with this personality.
I'll take that as a no. I'll take that as a no.
The main challenge of portraying the artist's vision on the screen was the cartoon sense of the world he wanted to create. And that means no visible polygons, make it look like a cartoon. The technical innovations in Blasto are generally to do with the 3D performance of the game. We've developed a good system for streaming the levels from the CD constantly on the fly. There's no loading time involved.
Uranus is littered with extra crispy bad guys. You might want to send somebody up there to hose the planet down. Either that or have a bake sale.
What would you do if you could go to a place where gaming was appreciated for the awe-inspiring experience it is? Where up-and-coming games were yours for the trying? Where you could feel the electricity in the air? If you're anything like Brad Lynch and Christopher Gordon, you'd know exactly what to do. Play till your thumbs bleed. Brad and Christopher are two PlayStation Underground members who happen to live near Atlanta, the site for this year's E3, the world's largest gaming show. E3, also known as the Electronic Entertainment Expo, annually brings together top interactive companies. In fact, over 400 exhibitors from around the world participated in E3 this year. Excitement was contagious there, and at the center of it all was the PlayStation. Our display was the size of a football field and allowed 220 people to experience upcoming PlayStation games at the same time. We weren't just content to be one of the largest exhibits there, we had to be the best. So we did whatever it took, even putting showcases off the ground to pack more into our space. Of course, the PlayStation Underground made an appearance too. With such a great setup, we had to share it. So we decided to invite Brad and Christopher along for some fun and gaming. Naturally, however, they weren't the only ones at the show who were playing. All in all, the two found the show not a difficult experience to take. Thanks for playing, guys. Ever wonder what video gaming is like in Japan? The PlayStation Underground flew over to Tokyo to attend Japan's premier video game show and to check out the gaming atmosphere in the land of the rising sun. Unlike at E3, America's video game expo, the Japanese public is allowed in for one day to get a first look at all the upcoming games. As the excitement built up, so did the crowd, which wrapped all the way around the convention center to the other side of the nearby freeway. Quite a turnout. When the doors open, the rush for the games is on. The Tokyo Game Show is like E3, but only about half its size. However, nearly all of the major video game manufacturers are represented. As we made our way through the show, we could tell which games were the potential hits by the lines forming in front of the kiosks. And of course, the game companies go out of their way to capture a visitor's attention. After the show, we decided to do a little game shopping and check out gamers in their natural habitat. In Tokyo, there is no better place to do that than in the Akihabara district, a 1 square mile shopping area that is to consumer electronics in Japan what Rodeo Drive is to fashion in Beverly Hills. You can get a game fix right on the street. Our conclusion, here at the center of the PlayStation universe, almost everyone is a player. And in Japan, like everywhere else, the #1 system in gamers' hearts and minds is PlayStation.
This is a really cool controller. It really has a lot of flexibility in the sense that, as in previous games you've created, they supported digital. What we have with the analog is you're able to now fluidly control your game in many different ways. We're starting off in digital mode, and as you see, I'm accelerating. In every bit of turning, I'm actually hitting my directional button. And then when I brake suddenly. As I start in analog, I have a finer control of my driving. As you can see, I can slow down gradually as well as accelerate at a quicker speed. If you see, if I brake, I can gradually press on my brakes and slow down. What we have first is your digital mode is indicated without a light being shown. And right now it supports your standard controller that exists today. If we put it into the analog mode, indicated by the red light, we now support these features. And we can control the game itself by moving the joysticks. What happens is the developers may have the option to use these as optional features, such as maybe the car honking or looking in reverse.
So here at Activision, we're really stoked to be able to use the analog controller, especially for Apocalypse in particular. Our game involves 360 degrees of movement and firing. So with the D-pad, you can hit, pretty much anything you need. But with the analog controller, if you want to hit 22.5 degrees to shoot the guy in the corner room that's trying to take you out, all you have to do is put the controller at 22.5 degrees and you got him. And I really don't think anything can offer more control than that.
So here at Fox, we're working on this new game called Croc, Legend of the Gobos, which features this lovable crocodile who lives in this full 3D world. The Sony analog pad. It makes a whole new experience compared to a digital system where you have to rotate, move forward, rotate, move forward. But once we switch in the analog system, you're just moving really fluidly.
In Crash Bandicoot 2, we're using all of the analog joystick capabilities. If you want to walk slowly, you just push the joystick a little bit. Basically, just point it in the direction you want to move, whether you're walking or riding a jetpack. I'm really excited to be able to bring this to PlayStation owners throughout the world. What they'll find is that the PlayStation is just as capable of doing free-roaming, dynamic 3D games as any other hardware system.
At China, we've been waiting for years for a new input device to be made. But Sony, by making this dual analog controller, have really made a huge difference to the feel of the games. Last month on Underground, I was playing Porsche Challenge. I played it using my normal joypad at home, and then Sony sent me one of these in the mail, so I plugged it in, and my first go, I got like 5 or 6 times farther in the game on my first try. And it was simply because you can set the angle of the wheels of the car, just like you're driving a real car, by the pitch of the little sticks here.
The analog controller allows you, the player, the ability to have finer control in your game, not just on and off, but all the points in between.
Yeah, what I'm really excited about is that we can do this on Sony. We don't have to go do it on Nintendo, but I probably shouldn't say that.
How are those black PlayStation CDs made?
We get this question all the time, so let's get to the answer. We're at Sony Disc Manufacturing, Springfield, Oregon. It's 7 a.m. and they've been up all night making PlayStation CDs. We got a camera inside to find out how it's done. Security is tight because valuable master CDs are made in this room. It's a delicate process. Check out the protective gear. A stray speck of hair or skin could bring a game to a screeching halt later. Your game came from a developer on a special gold CD as a series of zeros and ones, offs and ons. A laser reads this pattern, then flashes off and on to burn it into a glass master disc treated with photosensitive film. The disc is rinsed. The parts of the film that have been exposed by the laser wash away, leaving a series of pits and bumps in a track. This track is so narrow that a single strand of your hair would cover 40 of its rings. A laser in your PlayStation reads the track, and computer chips convert the zeros and ones into the graphics and sound of your game. The actual CD starts here as a handful of plastic pellets. They get melted. The hot plastic flows into a stamper where it's pressed with the track of your game. Black ink is added to the plastic to give the CD its distinctive, cool, PlayStation-only look. This also helps protect the CD from illegal copying. A thin aluminum coating allows the laser to reflect off the track and read it. And another machine makes sure there are no defects. Not all CDs make it. This material wasn't quite right. It's headed for recycling. Next, artwork is added through screens, one color at a time. Ultraviolet light dries the CDs between colors. Automatic Guided Vehicles, or AGVs, move the CDs along. They help a staff of just 375 employees turn out over 6 million CDs a month. That includes games, computer CDs, music CDs, and more for all kinds of companies. Sometime tonight you'll go to sleep, but CD manufacturing plants like this won't. And somewhere, hot plastic is flowing, people walk around in shower caps, robots are on the move, and the next hot new game for PlayStation is headed your way.
We were hanging around Atlanta for E3 when we found out that the winner of the first PlayStation Underground CD sweepstakes lived nearby. So we had the grand prize shipped overnight to our hotel, rounded up a van, and hit the freeway. The whole team was anxiously waiting to meet the winner. And waiting. And waiting. Finally, we reached Fayetteville, Georgia, in the Atlanta suburbs. And there she was, our grand prize winner, Carrie Davison. For taking the time to enter, she won the hottest fully integrated home entertainment center, a Sony Maximum television system, specially delivered by 2 hulky members of our team. Of course, we had to stick around a while to enjoy some good old Southern hospitality. And in the process, we managed to add a new member to the PlayStation Underground family. Nice to have another satisfied customer. Mission accomplished. Enter this issue sweepstakes and maybe you'll be our next stop.
How do you know I got a camera?
I just know. Why else? Hey, go shine on Amy. She's photogenic.
Do not film me, Gary. Get away from me.
How about that camera work, huh? A little shaky cam. Everybody say hi.
It's my job to make sure everyone's life's a living hell.
Gary, look, PlayStation!
I'm going to Disneyland!
We're having fun!
There's something new coming down in the 98 lineup of sports titles from the PlayStation Athletic Department. It's a whole new level of graphics and gameplay never before seen on PlayStation or any other video game system. What are the games like? Who's creating them? We're taking you inside to find out. The first thing you notice is that the biggest influence on the games are the pros themselves. They're kept pretty busy in the motion capture studio.
We get a guy like a Chad Brown, a Lamont Warren, a Jerome Bettis, a Steve Bono, a Tim Brown. We get them down here and we pick their brains. Yeah, we get them in the motion capture studio and then we spend hours going over plays and individual player movements. You're going to find linebackers scraping in our game. You won't find it in other people's games. Why? They don't even know what it's about.
The second biggest influence at the PlayStation Athletic Department is the sports expertise of the developers themselves.
We're all sports fanatics here. We're not just programmers and artists putting a sports game together. Ex-college players or ex-pro players actually develop the games. The developer for MLB 98 played professional baseball for the Minnesota Twins, Chris Cutliff. Kelly Ryan and myself played Division I college football. Our lead hockey programmer is actually a hockey player, plays twice a week. It makes a big difference when you have someone that understands the game and can implement little nuances into the video game itself.
The result is a first in sports video games.
What's new in technology is all new polygonal graphics across the entire lineup. It really sets a new level of video game realism. The NFL Game Day 98 is the only polygonal football game on PlayStation. NFL Game Day 97, it was a sprite-based game. One animation would have basically 5 or 6 frames of animation. It looks very flat. Now with polygonal graphics, you actually have a 3D model of a player that has depth to him. You can have up to like 30 frames of animation. You get a very seamless and realistic human-like movement.
If you're a face-off fan, the first impression you're going to have is how good the game looks. We're going to have tons of animation compared to our sprite-based game in the 97 version. Last year we had about 60, 70 animations. We're going to have 4 or 5 times that. We'll have secondary animations for the first time ever in a hockey game. You'll see a goalie, for instance, go down into a butterfly save, and if he doesn't have time to get back up, he'll go in right to a right-hand glove save, which has never been accomplished before.
In Game Day 98, you can rock people. We give you the tools that football players have on the football field. So if you're a defensive lineman, in Game Day 98, you're swimming, just like they do in the NFL. If a receiver's coming off the line, you're the DB, clock him.
You'll find full polygon action and faster gameplay in NBA Shootout 98, MLB 98, and NCAA Game Breaker 98 as well. And joining the lineup is our newest title, Kart World Series. It's more vivid than ever to travel at 200 miles an hour. Toward the end of our visit, it became apparent that developing sports games is a game itself, a high-stakes competitive push to put the most realism on screen.
PlayStation Athletic Department is the leader. We're on the cutting edge of not only graphics, but gameplay. Over the past couple years, we've implemented gameplay features like swim moves in a football game, forearm shivers, one-handed catches, total control passing, the first time you could lead or underthrow receivers, icon passing, the first innovative passing mechanism that we implemented in NBA Shootout 97. These up the level of gameplay experience, and you can see it. Even our competition has seen to what level we've gone to in terms of gameplay, and now they're all mimicking us.
We found developers here fanatical about pushing for more advances, and the harder they play, the more you win. Welcome to Apocalypse, a hot new game from Activision that is the first to texture map a real person's face onto a CG model's body.
Welcome to paradise, kid.
And that face belongs to action movie star Bruce Willis.
Time to get jacked up for Armageddon.
Bruce Willis stars as Trey Kincaid, your virtual partner in the Apocalypse adventure. Motion capture technology was used to fully integrate Bruce into the game. Apocalypse is set in a dark and violent future where science and religion are competing forces of society.
You can run, but you can't hide!
A false prophet called the Reverend has called up the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: death, war, Beast, and Plague, played by the rock singer Poe. These four forces of destruction roam the Earth in human disguise and await a signal to obliterate humanity altogether. Your job is to keep this from happening, and your number one asset is Trey Kincaid. Of course, saving the world has never been an easy job. In order to make you feel completely absorbed into the world of Apocalypse, new techniques were used to heighten the game-playing experience. By taking a motion capture approach, Bruce's actions were digitized and could be manipulated for a variety of moves. Dynamic, or intelligent camera technology adjusts the camera to the best angle for the current play. Bruce's input in every step of the process has also added a considerable amount to the game. A high priority when creating the game was to make sure the shooting worked within each scene. You can see exactly how all this attention to detail paid off. One thing is for certain. Enter the world of Apocalypse and you'll never want to leave.
Apocalypse by Activision.
Let's rock. Ah! Ooh, now that's gotta hurt. Oh, I'm good. Yikes! Phone that home, E.T. Better have a doctor take a look at that one. Another job well done. I'd help you up, but I don't have a spatula with me. Bingo! Ow! Ooh! Mama's little baby likes that. Housekeeping! Don't worry your pretty little head. Blasto to the rescue!
The most significant difference to us was capacity. Before, we were given restrictions in capacity, so we had to create one basic model and fiddle around with it, making players believe there were variations. It was a good way to become resourceful in limited circumstances. But on the CD-ROM, that restriction was completely taken away, and we didn't have to worry about various ways of modifying one basic model. If we needed 100 models, we could create each of them from scratch. The basic concept you have when creating RPGs is to imitate the real world and create a fictional world within the game. We have followed that concept in previous versions of this series, but technically, we had to use one basic model in different ways, or use a world symbolized specifically for game use. Now it is much easier for us to achieve our original goal. We can now express more of the real world in the game.
これまでのファミコン、スーパーファミコンの時は全体の
The number of simultaneous music output channels used to be 8 in the Super NES. Now it's 24. We leave 8 of them open for sound effects, so we have 16 to use for the actual music. That adds a lot of richness to the music. For example, when you hit the piano keys with both of your hands, you get 10 notes at once, and you won't be able to create that kind of a sound on Super NES. Suppose we create that piano-type sound with 10 notes and you still have 6 notes left. This means you can fit in sounds of other instruments, and this certainly adds complexity to the game.
ですね、今回に関してもコンピュータグラフィックスの技術っていうのを2通りのパターンとしてゲーム中に
We were able to use 2 types of CG technology in this game. One is the movie technology, where you create motion pictures using CG software and store it on CD-ROM. The other is polygon-based technology, where you create 3D objects and make them move. It is amazing to see new images being generated one after another, and all being played smoothly on the game console. You realize how powerful current technology is.
ロムから CD-ROM になってだんだん今までは
Thanks to CD-ROM, cinematic expressions which were impossible in the past have become available. For example, we can now show close-ups on characters' faces, and using various camera angles, the game screen is no longer a stage-like space. However, movies can be seen in movie theaters. In order to make this thing attractive to game players, we tried hard to put playable elements in the scenarios. We made it so players will not have to follow our pace.
今まで、特にゲームとしての感触なんですけども
In previous games, there were big differences between ordinary scenes and special effects scenes, and they were arranged in a certain order. The players would accept that as an established style and take for granted characters going through monotonous map scenes and then special effects being used in highlight scenes. They understood it as the grammar of the games, especially RPGs. We tried to break that understanding. For example, even in map scenes, the characters won't just move horizontally, but special, sometimes thrilling effects are added. In highlight scenes, we didn't make it too elaborate so that it will excessively stand out from the other scenes. The players will enjoy the flow of the game from the beginning through the ending, without noticing any intervals or arranged orders. In battle scenes, we use a lot of camera angles and effects, paying attention to space and 3D. Therefore, the battle scenes become the highlight scenes. The 3D effect is best shown when you use summoned beasts. These have always been the most attractive scenes in games, but we had to struggle on how to show them effectively in 2D atmospheres. Now, using 3D technology, more broad effects have been accomplished. The music in the field scenes, which is where the character walks around, has a unique flavor that no other RPGs had in the past. We intentionally eliminated the up-tempo, inspiring, rousing type of feel, meant to encourage you to embark on a journey that usual RPGs have. Instead, some parts of the music will rise melodiously. Some parts will make you feel insecure. therefore creating various expressions within the same field of music. I assume players will get a different feel from it compared to previous RPGs. To tell the truth, I hope so, since this is my own experiment.